Herzlich willkommen und einen schönen guten Morgen nach Wien, nach Österreich, sehr geehrte Damen und Herren, liebe Teilnehmer. Ich darf jetzt auf Englisch weitermachen, nachdem unser Webinar heute auf Englisch sein wird. So a very warm welcome, dear participants, to our webinar about the startup ecosystem in Turkey. I think today we will have from very knowledgeable and very experienced people a very good overview of what's going on in the startup scene in Turkey, what is happening here, what are the opportunities, is investment an option, can startups work together? All these questions will be answered, I think, today, and at least you will have the right contacts to continue. I know in Austria we don't know too much about Turkish startup scene, and in the last 1 or 2 years, extremely active scene has developed with a few unicorns, which are also active on other markets. So it's extremely vibrant and interesting. I think one of the reasons, of course, may also be that there are very many young, well-educated people looking for opportunities to start their own business, and the startup scene is, of course, very welcome. Now, before we start, I just want to mention 2 technicalities. First of all, we are recording this webinar, so you can also look at it at ease again afterwards. You will receive a link with the recording and with all the presentations. So don't worry, they will be sent to you in a few days. We also have the opportunity to ask questions to all the participants, to all the panelists. So please put your questions even immediately to the chat, and we will be happy to answer them afterwards when we have had all the panelists talking. Please also close your videos and microphones, and I wish you all a very interesting webinar. And with this, I would like to hand over to Mr. Burak Bilge, who is the CEO of the Austrian company here in Istanbul, Austria card. But at the same time, in his function today, he's the head of the Austrian branch of DEİK, the Turkish Foreign Trade Organization and our partner organization in Turkey. So, dear President Burak Bilge, may I hand over to you, please?
Thank you, Georg. Thanks for this warm and nice introduction. So, dear representatives of Turkish and Austrian business communities, distinguished guests, it's an honor for me to be here with our esteemed Austrian and Turkish friends and welcome you all to today's Turkish Startup Ecosystem webinar. I would like to start by thanking Advantage Austria, Georg Karabadzek, his colleagues, Ayşe Pelin Yalçın, who is the trade attaché of the Turkish embassy in Vienna, as well as all the speakers for their support in organizing this needed webinar. As a business diplomacy organization, DEİK, Foreign Economic Relations Board, was established in 1985 to organize and manage the foreign economic relations of the Turkish private sector. Our institution is comprised of business councils and founding institutions, and Turkey-Austria Business Council is one of those important business councils. Considering the last 5 years of our economic relations between 2 countries, we observe a stable and a growing trend. The trade volume has been around 2.6 billion euros over the last years, and we believe maintaining a regular dialogue to increase the trade volume and to create reliable and sustainable partnership is crucial. So today I hope to broaden the extent of our dialogue by introducing an extensive outlook on Turkey's startup ecosystem, which is, as Georg rightly pointed out, very vibrant and very successful. We have a quite rich program today, very valuable experts and opinion leaders that will be talking about Turkey's startup ecosystem, and that will walk us through also the developments that is happening over here. To warm up a bit, I would like to briefly point out some of the striking milestones and figures that convinced all of us here that there's a huge potential in Turkey for Turkish-Austrian collaboration in this area. Turkey's first unicorn, Peak Games, was founded in 2010. It was then acquired by Zynga back in 2020 for $1.8 billion US. Getir, which is available in a lot of European countries nowadays, is another great example. Their last investment round put their valuation around 7.5 billion US dollars. Turkey also has a strong e-commerce competition and business. Hepsi Burada was founded back in 2010, and it's the first Turkish company in this field to be listed on Nasdaq, currently valuing around 4.4 billion US dollars. In the light of such developments and successful stories that I briefly pointed out, Turkish startup ecosystem has much more to offer to foreign investors and shows willingness and readiness to cooperate with them. Traditionally, Turkey emerges as a strong production and supply powerhouse with its young, educated, highly skilled, and ambitious workforce, I would say. I hope we're planting new seeds for Turkish-Austrian partnership in such exciting times and difficult, I should add. I invite you to Turkey in the upcoming months. As DEİK Turkey-Austria Business Council, we're ready to support all of you in your business endeavors. Once again, thank you to all people that made this event possible. And I would like to start with the first part by handing the floor to our first speaker, Mr. Serkan Ünsal. Serkan is the founder of StartupsWatch webpage and specializes in the startup ecosystem, MIS, and intelligence. Welcome, Serkan. The floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Burak. My name is Serkan Ünsal. I'm the founder of StartupsWatch. StartupsWatch is a platform like Dealroom, Crunchbase, or CB Insights, as may you know. First, I couldn't change the screen, just a second. Can someone change the pages? Okay, thanks. This is showing all stakeholders in Turkish startup ecosystem since 2008. After 2010, lots of stakeholders, funds, angel networks, accelerators founded in Turkey. After 2012, first VC 212 is established, as Ali will speak later. In between 2010 and 2017, there were lots of first-timers. There were plenty of first-time funds, angel networks, accelerators. After that period, I call it first age or first period of Turkish startup ecosystem. After that, in between 2018 and 2022, there were lots of experienced funds, experienced angel networks, accelerators. And after 2018, we saw our first decacorns, unicorns, etc. And as of today, we have 6 unicorns, 1 decacorn. Before 2018, there were no unicorn or decacorn in Turkey. We can pass this slide. In Turkey, every year, approximately $100 million are raised by startups, but last year it's changed. We have a record-breaking funding amount and record-breaking funding count. Last year was different because Getir made a huge difference by going global. They launched, I think, 9 or 10 countries their service, and they raised $983 million last year. And gaming was hot in Turkey because there are some good gaming exits like Peak Games, Rolik, etc., Gram Games. For that reason, gaming entrepreneurs their appetite was increasing. For that reason, there were lots of gaming investments, gaming exits for the last 2-3 years. We can pass this slide. If you look at the stages, in seed stage, there were $105 million raised in seed stage last year. It was also a record. And in other stages, there are also record-breaking amount raised in Turkey. We can pass the slides. Last year, the top 10 VC deals were Getir. It's an ultra-fast grocery delivery service. Dream Games raised a big amount of money from local and international investors, and they raised $205 million last year. Tico is a PropTech startup. Colendi is a blockchain startup, and Libra Software is also a gaming startup. As you can see, 2 gaming startups are in top 5. If you look at foreign investor participation, next slide. Foreign participation is increasing in the amount, and there are some newcomers like Goldman Sachs, Tiger Global, Speedinvest, Sequoia Capital, Index Ventures, and some of them are invested in gaming startups. Some of them are late-stage investors, but they see some opportunities in early-stage startups in Turkey, and they made some investments in early stages. Next, please. In Turkey, last year, if you look at the deal size, grocery delivery is the top vertical in Turkey. After that, gaming, PropTech, Fintech, blockchain were the top verticals. If you look at the deal count, gaming is the hottest vertical in Turkey. After that, artificial intelligence, deep tech, Fintech, health tech are coming. Next, please. In Turkey, as I said before, gaming is the hottest topic. Last year was a record-breaking year, but for the last 2 months of this year, we passed that amount. We already passed that record because in January and February of this year, there are mega deals for gaming industry. And yesterday, there were an exit for $100 million in gaming industry. In every week, there are some happenings in gaming industry, and it's every year we are passing the records. And as a StartupsWatch, we counted the number of game studios in Turkey. For the last 3 years, we passed 300 gaming studios. And if we list all cities in Europe, we are coming after London. London is the top gaming hub, and after that, Istanbul is the second gaming hub in Europe right now, as the number of gaming studios. Next, please. This is the heat map of angel and VC deals. Our color is getting darker every year with the help of gaming industry and Getir's mega rounds. We are more dark, but if we compare it with UK, Germany, and France, we are still have a lighter color. Next, please. We are categorizing countries by their angel and VC deal sizes. We are very close with Austria. We have similar amount of deal size. Our source is Crunchbase and StartupsWatch, by the way. But our number of deal count is bigger than Austria. As you can see, UK is much bigger than Turkey and Austria. Next, please. If we compare it in MENA region, we are bigger than United Arab Emirates last year. In general, United Arab Emirates is bigger than us, but last year was different. We passed United Arab Emirates, but we are smaller than Israel. Next, please. If we look at the deals per capita, we have many way to go because deals per capita in Europe for Sweden is approximately $800 per capita. Turkey is $18.4 per capita. It's still small. We should have more investments for startups. It's an opportunity for all investors. Next, please. There are lots of corporate venture capital activity in Turkey. Lots of banks, approximately every bank has a corporate VC right now. Some of them has 3 or 4 corporate VC for every stages, for different verticals, etc. And some telecom operators also have some corporate VC. And by the way, last year, sports club also founded as CVC. Galatasaray founded as CVC. Next, please. For acquisition, Peak Games $1.8 billion exit was one of the greatest exit for the last three years. And Rolik is one of the gaming company in Turkey. They founded their company after 20 months. They exited for $200 million. That was the fastest exits for $200 million. Next, please. And for VC fundraising, last year 18 funds are established, and it's still growing because every bank, every telecom operator, every incorporation are trying to build corporate VCs, and some VCs are establishing their second fund, some are trying to establish their third fund. For that reason, there's a plenty of early stage VC funds in Turkey. Next, please. And these are some of the active investors: Tech One, 500 Istanbul, Early Bird Digital East Fund, Boğaziçi Ventures, Collective Spark, etc. Next, please. And in idea stage, government is very active. If you are in idea stage, you can get $20,000 from government with just an idea. And last year, 616 startups in idea stage took some grants from government. Next, please. And I think that's all. If you have questions, I can answer after that.
Serkan Bey, thank you so much. I think you have nicely demonstrated how big and how successful the Turkish startup ecosystem is. And there's a huge progress, I must say. The numbers are skyrocketing. And I'm sure Turkey will be attracting much more attention and investment going forward. And you're doing a very valuable thing. I want to thank you also for that. And I would like to proceed with our next speaker, Ahu Sertar. She is, alongside being ARYA Women Investment Platform's founder, also the chairperson of FARK Holding. So we will hear more about mentoring startups, entrepreneurship in Turkey, and her point of view. So Ahu, welcome to the webinar, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Murat Bey. Schönen guten Morgen, meine Damen und Herren. Leider haben wir den Skisaison verpasst dieses Jahr in Österreich, aber ich bin sehr, sehr fröhlich, mit fellow Österreichern hier zusammen zu sein. So I had the opportunity to practice my German too. I would like to start with a German word that got me thinking a lot about what I'm doing today. A German colleague of mine once told me, we were in a fair, and he said, and he's from a very big corporation, and we are mostly active in the automotive sector. We're one of the biggest companies, supplier companies in the automotive sector in Turkey. And he told me, Ahu, have you heard the word Unternehmen? He said. And I said, yes. And I feel more and more like we are not doing Unternehmen, but we are doing a lot of maintaining in my company. And what you are doing in Turkey is really the actual description for Unternehmen. And then that got me thinking a lot. And then I looked up the etymology, the meaning of the word. So Unternehmen, the German word means ausprobieren, durchprüfen. erproben, probieren und versuchen. Actually, what should happen in one company is what is happening with startups today, and more bigger companies stop doing that and they go to the maintaining phase, and they don't really connect themselves to the places where there's a lot of experimentation going on. So with these problems in my mind, and as a president of a quite big company, we started thinking, you know, what are we going to do for our future, and how are we going to take the legacy business and make it new again? So that was one of the problems. And as a tool, we found a lab called FARK Labs. It's an innovation lab where we start nurturing startups, not only investing, not only funds, but nurturing first and then investing in them, both inside and outside. And on the second stage, what is another obstacle for performance in a good team? It could be in a big company or in a small company. So diversity is becoming proving to be a major issue. So we said, if a company is not diverse and not inclusive of all kinds of people, then the ideation and going to the new phases becomes very, very difficult. So, and then we came up with a tool. How do we make more diversified companies? How do we invest in them? And how do we make investors on the other side? So I want to give you two examples today, what we did on the FARK Lab side first. So we do have our own corporate venture as a continuation of the bigger company, but investing alone is really not enough. So we decided to organize a program from ideation stage until the investment stage. And we also cooperated with the Turkish government, what Serkan just said, for example, in the ideation stage, where we choose these startups, the idea stage, and together with the government, we decide which ones to fund, and then the government funds them. So the government lets the decision to the corporation, actually, which is a very good program. It's not valued by the professors, it's valued by the business people. And after we do the pre-seed funding, we take them to the accelerator stage, then to the customer ready stage, and then to the invoice ready stage, and then hopefully to the investment. One good example that happened with us, that a spin-off that we started inside, and in 17 months, we were able to spin off the company. And it was a company for docking, locking, and charging station. It started as an idea by 3 engineers working within our company. So we nurtured them, we helped them to build the company, we gave them the seed money. And this company spun off in 17 months, first to, and got investment from Energy from Europe. And just 2 weeks ago, they got merged into one of the biggest electrical bike suppliers in the US called Acton. Turkish startups, I think a very good exit opportunity is for us. Also, when we invest in these companies, we can become shareholders of major global companies. And because there is a lot of ability, smart people, drive, and to take it to global. What made us very proud with DACT also, DACT will not only merge to Acton, but the DACT team will be one of the 2 of the C-level executives of Acton. And then what else are we doing now for Acton? When they are going to Series B, we will also help them for fundraising within Turkey in the MENA countries. So I think it's very important to have that kind of collaboration. Yes, we may nurture a startup, we may even invest in a startup in Turkey, but we also help nurture that startup globally. And once they become a part of another company, we keep supporting them. Coming back to the diversity issue. So when you look at the numbers, the VC money that goes to female founders, it's only 6% of the founders in the VC world is women. Only 15% of these invested companies are from diversified teams, so men and women. All the rest is only men. If women, and also on the investment side, we have very few female investors. So the decision makers are male, and then hence they are also investing into more male dominant teams. If women invested at the same rate as men, world will have managed $3.2 trillion more assets. So it would contribute a lot, not only to Turkish economy, but also to the global economy. And from the VC and the private equity professionals, only 7% are female. So, and the effect of diversity on financial performance is great. When you look at the IFC numbers, the companies with diversified teams, they have 25% more valuation and 20% more profitability. So for that problem, we help to establish ARYA Women Investment Platform, not only to invest in gender balanced teams, but also to turn more females into investors. So there are investor training programs. There is an angel network. We have now 300 members. Last year, we invested more than $1.5 million into 7 new gender balanced startups. And this year, next week, we will launch our first fund together with İşbank, and about $10 million to be only invested into, again, gender balanced teams. But most of the investors will also consist from women, father of daughters, and a lot of men who believe that diversity brings financial performance and hence sustainability in a country's future. So these are most of the things we are doing in Turkey. Turkey really has great potential, great people, great drive. Also, the proximity to Europe, the experience to be working with European companies like ourselves, for example, with German companies, with Austrian companies. So the way we know to work with them will, I think, makes Turkey is a very good opportunity. Whether Europe is using this opportunity is another thing. I think Turkey is, like women, is an underutilized asset. So I hope after this webinar, we will do a lot of things again to collaborate and to take the startups and the new ideas further, and to take legacy businesses and to make them new again. Thank you.
Thank you, Rana. And I think you made the point very clear. So, such a strong statement. Thank you. There are my, takeaway points which I noted down. I think Unternehmen is one of them that will stay with me, and also big corporations. I mean, going down to the experimental level and then taking it to global and becoming partners with global brands and global companies was another good point. I know I need to underline. Of course, this has to be done with women and in diversified teams. Duly noted and very much appreciated. Thank you. I'd like to proceed with Ali Karabey. He is the investment fund founder of 212 Investment Fund and a long-time startup financer and in the business with a huge track record. He'll tell us more about investment fund point of view and do's and don'ts. So such a valuable, title. Ali Bey, floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Burak Bey, and thank you for everyone for listening. I just want to give you some background of who I am, what I've been through, because I think it also resonates with the opportunity that we see in the Turkish environment, as Ahu Hanım just mentioned. I spent most of my career outside of Turkey, in Wall Street, London, in banking, starting in Arthur Andersen, then Morgan Stanley, New York and London, and finally Deutsche Bank in London and Singapore. Before I moved to Istanbul in 2009, I met my business partner in 2010 as we were establishing the first angel network, Galata Business Angels, and we decided that the vacuum was so big in Turkey that it required, not just the dessert, it required launch of an actual VC fund, and that's how 212 came about. And the reason it's called 212, actually, that most people usually ask about is it's the telephone code for New York and Istanbul, since we both lived in New York but were born and raised in Istanbul and came back to Istanbul. We launched in end of 2011, our first fund. We started investing in 2012. Our first fund was $30 million. We invested in 12 startups. Out of that, those startups raised more than $250 million so far. We already paid back the $30 million and are looking for a 4x return in total for the first fund. We went on to raise our second fund in 2018. We raised 50 million euros. Interestingly, the first fund was mainly raised from Turkish investors, and most of the second fund came from European investors, actually. And our biggest investor, our corner investor, is the European Investment Fund out of Luxembourg. With the 50 million euros, we invested in 13 companies so far, all in technology, and we are about to make 3 more investments, hopefully in the next 2 months. So far, to give you some more numbers after Serkan, so far we looked at and analyzed more than 6,000 companies. In 2021 alone, we looked at 800 companies. And again, out of the 800 last year, we made 3 investments. So actually our investment rate is much lower than Western European and American hit rate. The total portfolio that we currently have, the total valuation of our companies is more than $1.5 billion. The most recent unicorn that was Insider, some of you might have heard of them, came from our portfolio. It was announced last week that they raised $121 million at a unicorn valuation. So why am I telling you all this story? Because from the outside, and especially with ex-bankers hat, it looks very risky to invest in an emerging market like Turkey that's 60% discounted to all emerging markets at this point. If you're watching the Morgan Stanley Capital International Indices, MSCI, that's my alma mater, in Germany, Turkey as of this week is more than 60% discounted to emerging markets, more than 70% discounted to all world, and more than 75% discounted to the US. And this is the main reason I am investing, because we don't believe that the Turkish entrepreneur, Turkish technology entrepreneur deserves this discount. Which ones? The ones who have the international mentality, who are able to grow the company, build it in Istanbul, but grow it far beyond Istanbul. So with that, if I may, I'm not going to go into the don'ts, because I don't think it's up to me to tell you the don'ts of the investment world, but I can just give you 3 do's about Turkey, and when you are considering a Turkish startup for an investment. The most obvious one that you all will foresee is the team. Obviously, it's a cliche, but it's a true one. But the team is the most important thing, and the communication between the team and the potential investor, I believe, is a must-have that no one can oversee. The second one that I shortly mentioned is the international mindset. I personally don't believe that a true technology company can have a local mindset any longer. This is the Olympics. In the Olympics, you don't just compete in the home turf. You need to consider what the global competition is up to. So the international focus, the international ambition, even if they haven't left Istanbul or Turkey yet, is very important. And I think that's where an international investor, an international VC or angel, also brings a lot of value to the table. And the last one is, especially in early stage investing, I'm assuming that we have some angels and VCs in the crowd. In the early stage investing, I really believe that the local know-how is very important. And that's why I would highly recommend that you do co-invest with local angels and VCs, at least consult them about the investment in question before you do go ahead. I'm very happy that I moved back to Turkey in 2009. Most people still call me crazy after 13 years. Fewer do after seeing our first unicorn. And I think it will be even far less when they see our second unicorn that we are hoping this year. Overall, my entrepreneurial journey is a startup. That's how I look at it. And leaving the Western world, the banking industry, coming to Turkey to establish the first VC fund was great fun, great challenge, many bad days, but also amazing memories. So I'm happy that we have done it. And if any of you would like to hear more about it, we are always available to talk to you and share more experiences. Thank you.
Thank you, Ali Bey. Thank you so much for the insights. I think the do's were very clear. If you ask me, the team you said is very important, very crucial. The second aspect you drove our attention was the international mindset, which you can find a lot in Turkey, I would say, and also the local know-how for the international investors was another key point. I'm so glad that you managed to pay back the first investment fund in such a short time. That's a big success, and I wish high hit rates going forward in your investments. And I would like to turn to our last speaker of the first part, Emre Ölçer, who is leading, as Ahu Sertel mentioned. They are now establishing a joint fund with İşbank. İşbank is a very active in supporting and even establishing startups, fintechs, and investment funds, which we heard today. And Emre Bey is leading İşbank's digital banking division. And I will talk about why supporting startups is good, not for the investor only, but it's good for everybody. So Emre, the floor is yours. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Hello to all. Thank you, Burak Bey, for this kind introduction. It's a great pleasure for me, for my company, to attend such a valuable and meaningful event and taking the scene after the very important people who are the main actors and actresses of our startup ecosystem. So İşbank is the first privately held bank of Turkey, which was founded by Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, who is also the founder of Turkish Republic in 1924. And from the very beginning, our main objective is to support and empower Turkish entrepreneurs and business people. So up to date, our one of the main purposes to Turkish market is empowering entrepreneurs. Today, I will give you some brief information about how a corporate of Turkey contributes to startup ecosystem. So, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think I managed. I mentioned that the empowering and supporting entrepreneurs is our main objective, but today I will give you some brief information about our journey, which we started 6 years ago, about our new age entrepreneurship way. Actually, empowering, actually after a great transformation project, we step into Turkish startup ecosystem as a part of our open innovation strategy. So it was very important for us to be to collaborate with startups. So we step into startup ecosystem with an innovation office, which we opened in one of the most important co-working spaces of Turkey. And in the same year, we opened innovation centers around the world, which are one of them is in Silicon Valley and one of them is in Shanghai, China. So when we started to operate in this ecosystem, we started our first Startup Accelerator program, which which is Workup, and then we collaborate with valuable partners in this ecosystem. İşbank has established a corporate VC company 3 years ago, and committed a fund of 10,000 million, 100 million Turkish liras to invest in startups. So, as Ahu mentioned in her speech, we are about to establish another fund with ARYA to invest in women entrepreneurs. And actually, after these steps, we started a venture builder, and after that, we started the other startup startup acceleration programs within these 6 years. So then we have a spin-off of our payment systems marketplace, and last year we acquired a payment provider, Mocha, to enlarge our ecosystem. So, as our keynote speakers mentioned, Turkey is a fast-growing. Turkey has a fast-growing startup ecosystem. So we also trying to establish our own ecosystem to contribute to this to startups. So I want to talk about some brief information to give some brief information about our entrepreneurship programs. 4 years ago, we started Workup, which is a vertical agnostic accelerator program. We completed 8 batches, and now our 9th batch is going on. Today, we received above 13,000 applications from Turkish early stage entrepreneurs. So Workup is an entrepreneurship program, not for just fintechs or insurtechs. So we have 81 alumni up to date. The main KPIs of this program is how much we accelerate our startups. So and 32 graduates, our alumni, received above $10 million in different rounds, and 2 of those startups were invested with our fund. Last year, we started our first vertical entrepreneurship program, which specifically focuses on agriculture and sustainability verticals. And this year we started a new one on social impact vertical with a partnership with another accelerator program, K-Works, to contribute to this ecosystem. Our final and last step was an opening and startup branch in Istanbul, which specifically focuses on startups and the other players of the startup ecosystem. The main objective to open this branch is providing not only the financial instruments to startups, but also consultancy, partnerships and network to startups. Actually, we believe that the startups' first and main need is not just funding, but also they need to be they need to have customers and to reach out the ecosystem and to be visible with potential customers and investors. So our in addition to our financial instruments, we are trying to generate an startup hub for startup ecosystem. And I'm sorry. And how we collaborate with startups is I can mention 4 different type of collaboration. We become a customer of startups and make startups our customers through our traditional branches or with our startup branch. We develop mutual products and services with startups as a part of our open innovation approach. We serve APIs above 50 to technology startups and to develop products and services, and we provide them infrastructure services through our APIs. We provide also access to our customer base. Actually, we have about 15 million customers in Turkey. The Turkish Bank is the largest bank, privately held bank in Turkey. So we make some campaigns, communication and marketing campaigns with our startups to help them reach out a large customer base. And also we provide connections with the partners of İşbank, the subsidiaries, the partners, and the other players of our ecosystem. Also, we are investing in startups with our funds, which we established 3 years ago. Up to date, we made investments in 5 different startups in different stages, and up to $3.2 million to these startups. And actually, we believe that Turkey has a great potential, as the other speakers today mentioned. We have a great potential. We have a fast-growing ecosystem in Turkey. So we hope to see you in Turkey and to talk about potential collaborations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Emre Bey. I think İşbank's contribution to the industry is very valuable. So I'd like to congratulate for that. I think you've also created a win-and-win environment between the bank and the startups, which is also a very good idea. The last 6 years has been such a journey for İşbank and the ecosystem. I can hear that. I wish more success to you and to the cooperation. So for the second part, I would like to turn to Georg and hand it over to him. So thank you, Georg.
Thank you very much, Burak. And also from my side, a thank you to all these wonderful speakers. It gave a very good overview of the situation, and I think it also showed our Austrian participants that something is really happening here in Turkey. And so now we want to see what about experiences of Austrian investors and companies in Turkey. And we have a testimonial, 2 testimonials actually. And I would like to start with Mr. Volkan Özkan, co-founder of and CEO of Yolda.com, and Dr. Julian Blessin from Austria. He's the general partner of Speedinvest, who are investing in startup. So the floor is yours. We're looking forward to your testimonial.
Hello everyone.
Vielen Dank und herzlich willkommen, Damen und Herren. Grüße alle herzlichst. And switching to English. Thank you very much for this great event. Maybe a short introduction who we are, what we're doing at theolda.com, and then I would give the word directly to Julian. We are a very new company, so founded 2020, really a post-COVID company, and our focus is on freight forwarding. And we do the classical freight forwarding market, which you know, with the best class in technology. Why do you need best class in technology in this market? Because it's a very old-fashioned area. So just give you an example, over 25% of the trucks who drive in the whole European market have empty capacity, and 1/4 of these are also searching for extremely return loads in that area. And this business is today managed with, we call that dispatching, so matchmaking, which load has to be combined, which trucking capacity is made extremely manually, and we do that business in a full digital way. We grown up very fast, so started in 2020, April was our launch, and we have served till now over 500 clients. So shipper companies, manufacturing companies, such as also Germans like Knauf, Mannesmann, or global brands like Barilla, Kraft Foods, also Turkish stars like Trendyol Express, Sütaş, and BMC Power or AJA. And we do we ship their road freight for full truckload and partial loads. We started in the Turkish domestic area, and actually expanded for import and export shipments between Turkey and Germany. And very newly, so since last week, we are also offering services in the German domestic area. So we're shipping loads also from, as example, from Cologne to Munich. And Speedinvest is a very early stage investor in theolda.com. So we have known us also before I founded with my co-founder Yolda. So I was leading the business, the product business at EasyCo, and Speedinvest was also one of the first investors at EasyCo. So we had a good relationship from there on. And when Yolda has shown their first traction, Speedinvest was also very speed and made their seed investment in Yolda and doubled down also on the next round.
Yes, maybe as a quick introduction from my side and Speedinvest. So Speedinvest, some of you might know, is a European venture capital fund, founded 10 years ago in Austria. It was actually the first venture capital fund in Austria. Since then has really grown up. We are quite a large team of roughly 80 people across Vienna, of course, London, Paris, Munich, and myself in Berlin, together with a team. We invest, as Yolda said, in very early stage, so that means pre-seed and seed stage. And sometimes it's really idea stage. Here in the Yolda case, there was already some traction, and they had already both great angels on board from Austria and local angels from Turkey, as well as a great fund, Collective Spark. I will come to that in a little bit. Maybe two more words on Speedinvest. Speedinvest has a mandate to invest across many sectors in Europe, but also beyond. So we look more and more into emerging markets. Here in this case, we did not actively seek an investment opportunity in Turkey. But as Volkan said, we knew him before Speedinvest knew Volkan, before there was a personal relationship. So once he started out with Murat and his co-founder and reached out to us, of course, we had to take a look as we had great experience with them and the company in the past. So why did we invest? Of course, we like the space. We know the model also from other geographies. What really attracted us here is beyond the team that they already showed some traction, and that other investors already had trust in the team and brought their local experience. For us as a fund, or especially for me as an individual leading this deal in the seed round, it's not that easy to have a good sense of the local specificities. Here it was really helpful to have someone local already we could talk to, not only evaluating the business and the local specifics of the market, but also, for example, looking at tax considerations and so on when we do as a fund regulated in Austria, doing an investment in Turkey. Maybe some other aspects we and probably also follow-on investors would look at. Sometimes it's not that easy for European funds, also for US funds, to invest in emerging markets. Here it can help that a company that already knows that it will go international and it wants to attract international capital, think of a holding structure where it's easier for international VC funds or later on private equity, for example, to invest in. So, for example, having an entity in the EU, for example, Germany or in the UK, that could help, especially facilitating later rounds, as some funds might have from their regulation restrictions in which geographies they can invest. This would be a measure how to work around that, and sometimes it's probably easier to already think about it from the beginning if you already know that you want to go that route. Maybe something to think about also for startups that are in the process of funding or structuring around.
What I can add is from my side. So I was also co-founder in the company in Germany, and I don't know, is there any founder as joiners or entrepreneurs actually? But what as I can give as advice is, when I built up a company in Germany, you don't need to explain the country dynamics. So communication is just on the part of the business. But if you build up in Turkey, it's also important that you guide your venture capital partners or investors over the company. So we also supported during the fundraising process and during the due diligences for Turkish tax situations, the Turkish macroeconomics, and etc. So this was also an important part of the business. So not just, of course, founder and showing traction and the track record of founders are always important. But in that case, you have also the part of explaining the country dynamics and the legal structure and knowing how you manage also the tax situations.
Yes.
Because it's mostly new market for VCs.
Yeah, maybe for us to add, we are a long-term investor, so we usually have a time frame of 5 to 10 years. So we are not as sensitive as others, maybe on short-term macroeconomic development. However, this is important in a bigger scheme for every investor. Here we know that we are in the long term, and we are not getting nervous if inflation hits or something like that, and already knew that we will, if something like that happened, which happened over especially over the last half a year, that we will support our founders and don't get nervous. We are in for the long run, and the performance of Yolda is showing that we did the right move and are on the right path here.
It makes you also creative with the when you have always the inflation rates and the currency changes and the ups and downs. I think this was also an opportunity for us as we talk with for the fundraising process. As example, our Germany expansion strategy was much more later, but with the currency changes to be open, we decided to get faster and make our expansion also faster and get faster global. And this is also an opportunity, and we have an extremely good headcount, as also Ali mentioned. So the most opportunity in Turkey is we have really good players, really good people here, really good software engineers, business people, industrial engineers. And therefore, I strongly believe that with people from Turkey that we are now able to think much more global and expand also much more faster globally.
Yeah, I think Germany expansion here in this case is a great example where you can really play out strengths. So having, for example, like a German-speaking call center based out of Istanbul or Turkey, which with a clear cost advantage compared to German competitors, for example. Just a little example here. Maybe on our investment, so I already mentioned we did. There was a pre-seed before us, led by Collective Spark and relevant angels. We came in at the seed round, and the company got so much interest from external investors already that an international fund wanted to do or preempt, how we call it, preempt Series A. And gave an offer. However, we as internal investors then decided to mirror that offer and do the round internally and double down even a little bit earlier, even when the company did not need the investment or the money urgently. So we this is all closed now. We doubled down and I really believe in the company and the great future.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for this insight, how you saw it. I think we will have questions afterwards to how you saw it, how you did it again. I can see already, but before that, I would like to ask Mr. Ebru Yilmaz, CEO of BTS, and about his experiences with Bitpanda in Turkey. Ebru Bey, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I don't know if my camera is enabled.
Yes, now we can see you.
All right, great. I think there was a misunderstanding with the title that I have. I used to be CEO at BTS and Partners, but this was many years ago. Not a big issue, but until recently, I was the managing director for Bitpanda in Turkey and MENA. And I think Bitpanda, being the first unicorn from Austria, entering the Turkish market was quite a journey, an exciting one. And Turkey is one of the most vibrant crypto markets globally. It's becoming more competitive. and I was basically privileged to see a journey into the market together with Eric and Paul and Christian, the founders of Bitpanda, building and establishing our operations in Turkey. Previously, I was also on the other side of the table. Just like Ali, I was a fund manager working for 3TS Capital Partners, initially based in Istanbul, but then moved to Vienna in 2016. And I'm happily living here with my family since 6 years. And with 3TS, we invested in the region, in Central Eastern Europe and DACH region, Austria, and neighboring countries. And it's also good for me to see that most of the ecosystems in the region are also developing, not only Turkey or Austria, but neighboring countries are also seeing a good development when it comes to venture capital funding and also entrepreneurship and success stories. But working with Bitpanda, which is an international company with many offices globally now, but predominantly Austrian, it was quite a good cultural learning curve for me as well. Obviously, learning German was one part of it, but also learning the Austrian culture and how Austrians do business. And Turkey was an interesting market because it was the first one outside of EU and a non-Euro country. So we had many good lessons learned that we could actually take together with us to other markets with Bitpanda team. So it's always good to see companies in the region expanding to neighboring countries as well as other intercontinental markets. But Turkey and Austria seem to have a good fit. I also met during my fund management time many LPs who have invested in funds investing in Turkey, PE funds, whatnot. And then also I have seen many industrial companies from Austria doing M&A activity in Turkey because Austria is quite well known for heavy industry and other things. So I think there's a strong bond between the countries. There's about, I think, 500,000 Turks living in Austria. And they are, I think they're in third or fourth generation right now. We are also seeing some Turkish founders in Austria who have actually started companies and received VC funding. And then I think there were also some VC investors at Speedinvest, for example, who had Turkish descent. So when you look left and right, either investors or entrepreneurs, you see more activity in Austria and Turkey. And I'm very happy to, see that this is kind of developing further. I think one takeaway for me during my time at Bitpanda was that obviously expanding into a market outside of EU has some challenges, but I think seeing the value in the Turkish market and also the talent pool was something quite unique. Turkey has many good engineering schools and many fresh graduates actually look for startup jobs because of the macro challenges that Turkey has. So in that sense, I think if I were an entrepreneur or a VC investor, I would only not look at Turkey just as an expansion market, but I would also entertain it as a hub that can potentially serve the region from a technology point of view, as well as customer service. That has been quite, I think, well executed by some other companies. So those are my, comments and experiences. Happy to see things are developing in Austria as well as Turkey, and hopefully we'll see some good projects together. In the meantime, let me announce what I'm working on next. So since I left Bitpanda, I've decided to set up an early stage fund that focuses on blockchain and fintech technologies. I partnered up with an Austrian partner, Michael Pötscher. He was my partner in crime at Bitpanda. He was our CMO. And then I also have a partner in Turkey, Bora Yilmaz, who's an ex-venture capitalist with Revor Capital. So three of us, we are raising a 20 million euro fund, and we'll be investing in the region in blockchain and fintech companies. We hope to make the announcement of the fund next week, literally. So my title will be updated to something else. So that's my last comment, I think. Maybe happy to, take part in questions and conversation.
Thank you very much, Ilgus Bey, and sorry for this misunderstanding. We know each other, but somehow we put the wrong title. Yeah. But as I see, the title we put today is not valid tomorrow, and so it changes very quickly. And I think that's what you can generally say on the startup scene. But thank you for this insight. And there are a few questions which have come up. And one I would like to start is, now you told us about Bitpanda coming to Turkey, and we heard from from Julian Blessing and Volkan Özkan that they invested here in Yolda. So after our webinar today, I think there's a lot of information Austrians are getting today. They see how vibrant it is, this team. But what would you tell an Austrian? Let's start with an investor, an Austrian investor. How should he go ahead? Because what I learned, I'm not really into this, but I always learn if you're not in the field, it's very difficult to invest. But say an Austrian wants to invest now in Turkey, what would you suggest he has to do? What should he do? What would the steps be so that he can participate in this vibrant market? This question is to everyone, of course, also, but
Okay.
let's start with you, Elgus, as you.
Yeah, happy to. I think depending on the investor type and investment size, there could be multiple ways of doing reconnaissance in the market. Obviously, if you're an angel investor or a venture capitalist, I think talking to network contacts is the way to go. Basically, approaching angel organizations such as Galata Business Angels or funds like 212, Ali's fund. Basically, building a network with local investors, I think, is the right way to go. And then there are also advisors who are advising companies in fundraising and also funds in finding deals. So some of these advisors actually work across the region, not only in Austria or Turkey, but throughout the region. So approaching these advisors for introductions and also looking for deals could be a feasible way to, at least get your foot in the door. Yeah.
Good. Anybody wants to add something about panelists? If you would want to switch on your webcams. Anything to add to this question? Other questions are also waiting, but this, I think, is what they're asking us, what should we do if we want to invest? So I think what Elgus has just said, I think it sounds for me very logical. So you need a partner in Turkey, this is, by the way, also for other companies, always the case. Without partner, it won't work. Is that correct?
Georg, may I answer to that question also? Not from a startup or point of view, but from a conventional business perspective, since I'm running also an Austrian company as CEO since many years, and we are active in smart cards and data security business, working mainly with banks and other institutions. And we are, proud to say we're a very successful company with a very significant market share in the business. I think one of the keys for success is, of course, finding the right people. As Arab said, the team is very important. You have to have the right team in place. First of all, if you have the right people and you can trust them, I think trust is another issue that needs to be kind of provided. Turkey is an exciting market with lots of opportunities, and from a commercial perspective, commercial mindset, and as somebody who has lived for many years in Vienna and Austria also, I think the mindset of Austrian business community and Turkish business community are alike. So it's not that different. So I think one can find very similar business setups and successful business lines established by Austrian companies. And I encourage everybody, to invest in not startups, also conventional business lines. I think Turkey is, has a lot to offer in my view.
Yeah, thank you. Because this brings us to a similar, the next question, which I have here is, what's the main difference then between the Turkish startup ecosystem and the European one? Let's leave America aside, but the European one. So why should an Austrian invest in Turkey? Is it more vibrant? Or is it, as also I understand, Ali and others, it doesn't really matter which country it is. It depends on the team and what they're trying to do. But would you say there's a big difference between Austrian, Turkish, European, and Turkish startup scene?
How shall we do it? Should we do it alphabetically? But maybe who should go first?
Please go ahead. Whoever wants to say something.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
So if I mean, you shouldn't invest in Turkish startups. You should invest in Turkish or whatever country they're from, minds and teams. Mm-hmm. I don't think the geography is any longer. I think you should invest in global ambitions and teams that have that talent or know what they're missing. in that journey. I don't think it matters anymore where the entrepreneurial team is from. And look at us right now. You know, 2.5 years ago, this was unthinkable, right? It would have taken us 6 months to get together in a room and fly you or us flying to Vienna to have this meeting. Now it's nothing to us. So in the last 1 year, we made 3 investments without having met the team face to face. I don't even know where they are based anymore. So I think you need to look at the team, see if you're impressed by who they are, what they've achieved, and what their ambitions are going forward. What your value add will be besides your contribution in capital, and if you're impressed by them, if you feel energized by their dream, then you should invest in them.
Okay.
Yes, and maybe I can add from a corporation investor perspective. You know, when you're doing different countries, I mean, again, like Ali said, what can you afford to miss is my perspective. So I'm not looking like, why should I invest in Turkey, but what am I missing in Turkey is the right question, I think, to find out.
Okay.
And when you're a generalist investor, for example, let's say you're very experienced in Austria, you know the market, but then you want to do what you're doing in general and under general terms, then I would come to Turkey and invest with a generalist fund, for example. So if you look at our perspective, mobility is our main vertical. So in our country, we are active investors and we own the fund. But that doesn't mean we can be the best mobility investors all around the world. So we invest in funds, in mobility funds in Europe, in US, in China, so that we diversify our portfolio for mobility and get all the learning we can get. But that doesn't constrain me from investing in other funds. For example, that doesn't mean we should miss out on fintech, for example, and that we also invest in each other's funds. So I was just chatting with Elbrus, for example. I'm waiting to invest in his fintech fund because fintech is a great, fintech in Turkey is very, very advanced. And I think that it can have a global chance. But instead of trying to do everything ourselves, we also divest as investors. So it is a good collaborative approach. And I call it an investment portfolio approach to innovation. So if you're trying to catch the new things in the world, you have to give the money to the right people and they do the work for you.
Okay.
So, and hopefully we collect good returns at the end.
Yeah. Okay. So it also means, if I understand you correctly with what you said, you have to look globally for your investments, but this also means it's not so easy because global is quite big. So you need these networks where you find people and then you look who is the right company. So it's quite early. If you were investing 1 or 2 countries, it was easier, wasn't it? You have more choice, but isn't it very difficult to look to all countries at the same time, to look, like Ali Bey said, find the right team, the right mindset?
Is this for me or for other people?
No, it's a statement, not a question, because you have the experience. So I think it must be quite difficult to keep your eyes open in the whole world to see where's the right team, where's the right mindset.
Exactly. Also teams, you know, funds are teams too. So they are a part of the team. So looking for the right fund is also a part of the work. So
Exactly.
funds, startups, everything together, I think makes the work. It doesn't matter it's Turkish or Austrian or American. Global success should be the target.
Yeah. Fascinating. Yeah. So your globalization. I have one question was put to us. What are the main challenges of Turkish startups currently growing? As I can hear, it is a popular topic, but just a few are succeeding. But I mean, I think there's a general question about startups, but is there a difference in Turkey to Europe again? If you look at this, the main challenges of Turkish startups to grow. Whoever like to say something to this.
I'll just jump in again if you'd like.
Maybe I can. Sorry.
Go ahead. You should go ahead, please.
No, okay,
no.
Maybe I can jump in as a startup. Yeah.
You go ahead. The startup.
I cannot say that it's really different. I think each startup has his own parameters. So my first startup was in Germany. I've joined that startup, co-founded 2012. It was a startup where you can integrate different payment methods such as direct debit, German Lastschriftverfahren, credit card, and can make your checkout via smartphone. We integrated that solution in 15,000 taxis. So people were able to pay with their smartphone in 15,000 taxis. It was a great integration. We have lots of suppliers in usage, but German people hasn't used that. So we spent a lot of money to change behavior that they pay via smartphone, but was a very conservative time at that moment. So it was the wrong time, the wrong place with the wrong product, and we struggled a lot with customer acquisition. So therefore, it's not really to say it's easier to build a startup in Germany or to build a startup in Turkey. It's always the question: right time, right product, right team. Therefore, I wouldn't say Turkey is harder or Germany is easier or Austria is easier. So from my perspective, it's how the founder looks like, and that's also answering, I think, what I totally agree with Ali's thing, that it's not different to invest in countries. It's always the case by case view.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Ali Bey.
I think the biggest challenge we see in our portfolio, and this might not be about every startup obviously, is Turks have no problem solving problems. They are good problem solvers, and they do it with minimal capital because that's how we were raised, with no capital. So they're quite capital efficient. The biggest challenge, we have many, the biggest challenge we have is selling internationally and supporting internationally after sales, especially on the B2B space, in the enterprise sales space. And the average Turkish entrepreneur, the engineer, he is amazing, creating stuff, but when it comes to sales and after sales, they're having significant challenges. Just not just selling, approaching, storytelling, satisfying a customer, or ensuring an unsatisfied customer doesn't leave. So I think that's where we spend most of our time. In distribution is our biggest challenge in our current portfolio. That's what I see as the #1 challenge and the opportunity that needs to be addressed.
Okay. Anybody else? So,
plus, it feels like very expensive when you go to Germany, and so when you operate in Turkey, and afterwards, as example, you pay agencies and etc. in Turkey, and compared to Germany or other countries, European countries, it's a huge difference when you feel it. So in the actual expansion, what I actually also have tested myself. So different game on capital also.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I see no other questions coming up. I would like to thank you all very much. Also for me, it was incredible insights, and I think we can really say it's not about Turkey, it's not about Austria. It's about these ideas, the teams, the mindsets where we invest. And so it's a very nice example for globalization in a positive way, I suppose. So as I mentioned, we will have this recording. We will also send it to you and to the participants. And I hope if we can come with an Austrian team of investors or startups, that we could also come and see you and talk to you, and so they can also get some of your experience. So thank you very, very much for participating. Burak, would you like to add something? Okay, we can't hear you, Burak.
Yes, I was muted by the organizer, so I'm back. What I was trying to say, I learned a lot today.
Yeah.
It was very instructive, very informative for me. I mean, I'm in the fintech ecosystem, but I found out that there are many things which I haven't heard of before. So I want to thank all the participants for giving me such a valuable insight. I think being global and having a global perspective, and considering an investment to Turkey is not to Turkey, but considering the subject, and taking into consideration, I think is paramount. So this is what I learned today, and I want to thank everybody for their participation from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
There's nothing to add. Thank you also so much for being with us. Thank you for your valuable time. Appreciate it very much, and I hope to meet you again sometime in real life also. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, John.